Hi, everyone. I'm Don Hickman. I am the Mayor Pro Tem of Ogden Valley City and Councilman from District 5. And it is my distinct honor to be able tonight to bring to order the first meeting of our Planning Commission. Janet Wampler would be here, but Janet, it turns out the mayor has a lot of other duties as assigned, most of them on the other side of the mountains. So she wishes the planning committee well, and she just couldn't be here tonight. So we have an agenda that was published uh, to all in a timely manner. We are calling to order the first meeting of the Ogden Valley City Planning Commission. As is our procedure in Ogden Valley City, I'm going to call everyone who can to please stand, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance. After that, we'll have a moment of silence, and then I will introduce the planning commission. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Okay, and I failed to use my brand new issued gavel to call the meeting to order. Yeah, there we go. I didn't be great, so I gotta learn how to use this thing properly. Okay, so I'm Don Hickman. As I mentioned, I'm the mayor pro tem of the city. In the audience tonight, we also have Peggy Lynn Baker from District 2. Peggy and Chad Booth and Peggy are leading the effort for our planning efforts within the city. I'm sitting here tonight just simply because I'm the mayor pro tem. I'm going to ask these planning commission to introduce themselves versus maybe all the talking. So I'm going to start on my far right, sir. Introduce yourself.
Great, Jim Morgan. I live in Elkhorn. I've been a resident here for 21 years, and I formerly served on the planning commission with the plan for a short 6-month term. So, thank you.
Angela Jean, I live in Liberty. I'm veteran since 2005 and full-time since COVID. And I've served on other planning commissions. I'm an architect by trade, and yeah, happy to be here.
Sorry. I'm Lisa Arbogast. I live in Eden in Ogden Valley City. I lived here since August of 2001, so I've been here for almost 25 years. Sorry, I'm sucking on cough drops. I am an attorney and a former educator, and I'm thrilled to be a part of Ogden Valley Planning Commission.
Thank you.
I'm Karen Seeger. I have lived on this side of the mountain since 2022, so not very long. Traveled around the other side a few times and finally landed over here. I am retired Air Force. I dabble in some real estate, but not very much. And I'm happy to be part of the new city planning parts, and I'm looking forward to getting things started and working for whatever we want to do.
Thank you. And I believe we have Fred Lecope online. Fred, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, how you doing, Don and everybody else? Sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight, and looking forward to being there in person for the next meeting. I am Fred Blickley. I have been coming to Ogden Valley since 2005 as a part-time resident, and then became a full-time resident in 2019. And I am in District 3. I live down the hill from Kay. I have not been on the Planning Commission before. I have been working with various folks throughout the past year on, helping organize our efforts here. I'm an engineer, civil and environmental engineer, 40 years experience, and work just part-time now with my own little firm. So looking forward to working with y'all on the planning commission and seeing how we can move this valley forward in a real wonderful way.
Thank you, Fred. Also on our planning commission and not able to join us tonight are Terry Zanger from District 5 and Tyson Lloyd from District 5. They're not able to join tonight, and that rounds out the team. So we have 7 members of our planning commission, 4 of them here tonight in person, Fred online. What I didn't mention when I opened up the meeting was this is a formal working meeting of the planning commission. That said, I am going to open it up for public comment. If any of the members, the residents here tonight wish to make a comment, I would ask you to keep the comment for less than 2 minutes and germane to the business of what we're doing tonight. And I'll offer the same thing to the people reading. If you wish to make it, well, hot day.
There she is.
Terry Zanger just showed up.
Yeah.
No worries. I just said all kinds of great things about you, so after you catch your breath and sit down, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. But if you choose to make a comment, we're gonna do it now, and what I would do is ask you to come up basically to the last year right up here. Why this creature who sits on the table up here called the owl will be looking at you, and you will be broadcast the entire world via our Zoom that way. Terry, introduce yourself, please.
Terry Sanger, I've lived up here about 26 years, we live over in Middle Park. I love the valley, it's the only thing I've never complained about in my whole life, so. That's it. I'm excited to be on this commission, and I hope we can be effective and get what we want done.
Right. Thank you. Real dead. Yeah, 5 in person, 1 online, 1 other. Members of the public, would anybody like to make a comment at this time? When you make your comment, introduce yourselves, give us your address, and then you have the floor.
Hello, Blaine Vernon, currently transitioning from District 2 to District 5 over on 9200. Part of why I'm here in front of you guys today. I'm kind of caught up in the, I'm caught up in the moratorium. So first off, good evening. Congratulations on being on the planning commission. For those you I haven't met yet, my name is Blaine Vernon. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. You're stepping into a huge role as a planning commission. It's an important moment for the Ogden Valley, and I want to acknowledge the scale and tasks ahead of you. Balancing growth, infrastructure, environmental responsibility, affordability, and affordability is not easy. And I appreciate you guys wanting to take that on. I'm here to introduce our project. This might be a little premature, but it's going to be in front of you at some point, and time is of the essence for us, so I'd like to get it in front of you guys as soon as possible. And also kind of share how the building moratorium is affecting, people that it may not be meant to affect to, guys that aren't major builders, just homeowner and owner builders. What we're trying to build is a single family home. It's not a speculation build. We're planning to live there for the extent of our lifetime, age in place kind of mentality with it. We're using a different type of construction that is not conventional to stick frame. It's currently approved in the Weaver Code. I ask that you guys don't accidentally exclude it as you guys look through the new code and kind of pick the new rules and stuff that are going in place. The project specifically uses a system called structurally insulated panels, or better known as SIPs. They provide a significantly better envelope for the building, making it more efficient to heat and cool, a more high performance house. And again, it's currently approved with the way the county code is written. But it's not a conventional way. So as you read the planning commission or the ordinances, it could be something that may fall off the table. I also want to emphasize the effects the moratorium is having. Again, it affects homeowners, not just developers. Personally, we're looking at an extra $30,000 in carrying costs for financial fees, administrative fees, to be able to hold this property, for 6 months before we can start building on it. That's real money. That's money that doesn't get put into the house, doesn't get put into the infrastructure, doesn't make it safer, doesn't make it look better. It's just money that's lost to, the closing costs and the fees that are associated with it. One of the stated goals of the new council was to improve affordability for younger residents and the next generation to stay here in the valley. The moratorium and cost system decisions you make will affect that. So I urge you to keep that in mind as you make those decisions. I understand that the moratorium can't be lifted immediately. It's one of those things that needs to get worked through. We understand this was something that was gonna be a part of the process and that we might be caught in. 6 months is a long time. I'm hoping you guys can stay ahead of it and maybe shorten that window a little bit to benefit us and, other residents of the valley. I have some information I put together because like I said, SIP is a non-conventional way of building. So I speak it and I live it because I've been doing a lot of research on it. But if you're not familiar with it, it can seem kind of a weird or a manufactured home, which in some instances. So let's read these now.
Can you tell me your name one more time?
Sorry, Blaine Burton.
Your sure name.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else wish to make a comment?
Jason Fuller, I'm over at meeting. I have been up in for about 25 years, but the time has a long history here. I would ask and hope that the planning commission is farmer friendly, and I know you've heard a lot of that, and there's been a lot of talk of that, and we just hope hope you consider that for residents of the valley, long-term residents, as well as those in the valley that would just like to arrive here and do the farming and agriculture and things that hopefully we can keep the people who are here and not only protect this beautiful valley, but also protect the beautiful people who are here and would like to afford to be able to stay here. Thank you.
I'm Pam Lee, I live in Netsville, the old property in the new city. And I just kind of want to support the comments the other two gentlemen made in terms of prioritizing maybe homeowners and individual builders rather than big, large development projects. And I know there's a moratorium in place that does impact a lot of us that were in process with Weaver County. And then got pushed kind of into this new process. And so now we're in this waiting period. But maybe when the planning commission does get to a position where they're able to hear, actual cases or whatever you want to call it, maybe there could be some priority given to individuals who are actual like homeowners and people that just want to build small scale projects instead of major. And it might be an easy way for you guys to enter into the process to certainly benefit those of us who've got caught in moratorium. So maybe those who are in the moratorium could be put on a wait list or prioritized in some way so that the big projects that come in later don't get pushed ahead. That's
Kathy, do we have any questions or hands raised on Zoom?
Not at the moment. Does anyone on the Zoom wanna make a comment? So far, no.
With that, I'm gonna close the public comment period right now. We may open it up again at the end of the meeting. The agenda has us, me turning it over to Lisa Arbogast, who will discuss the Open and Public Meeting Act for the planning commission.
Okay, thank you.
Over to you.
Thanks. Okay, first of all, I'd like to make sure that everybody understands that the Open Meeting Act applies to public bodies and the planning commission is a public body. So the Public and Open Meetings Act applies to us. Because primarily, I think because we're vested with the authority to make decisions regarding public's business. Kathy has a little video, an introductory video that we're going to play that's a quick overview of the Open and Public Meetings Act. And after we play that, I think it's about 7 minutes, then I'm going to go into just a little more detail and we'll talk and sort of see if anybody has questions.
Just not sure, well, feedback and most of that is different. I don't think that's done, it's popping through, so I'm gonna make it more microphone.
That's good, you can back up to the beginning now.
It's not good.
No, it's good. But we don't have the other volume there.
We'll just need this microphone real quick then.
We're now watching some of the most important people on the
Keep it handy. There we go.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, I know that was fast, but it's a really nice overview of all the things. First of all, I want to talk about the specifics, the specific codes that apply to us here, and I sent those codes to Kathy, and I think she's gonna try to put them maybe up on the screen. First of all, we're gonna be talking about Utah Code 52-4-101 etc., which is the Open and Public Meetings Act. Within that act, it discusses electronic meetings, and Ogden Valley City has already adopted our ordinance or our rule for electronic meetings, and that is found in our municipal code 2.12.040. So I'm going to be referencing that just a little bit. Also, we're going to highlight Utah Code 52-4-203. It's part of that Utah of the Open and Public Meetings Act. That is the requirements, the written minute requirements for public records and recording of the meetings, and it's a big list. So I'm going to go over a few of those points. I'm not going to go over every single one. You guys will have the code, and we'll be learning that as we go. We've got a great resource in Brian that's going to keep on the straight and narrow as we move forward to make sure we're doing things right every step of the way. And when we get our lovely two ladies over here, when we get ours, they are also going to need this training because it's a big responsibility that they have to do this for us, and we really appreciate it. So first of all, we're going to talk about what is a meeting and what isn't a meeting. A meeting requires a quorum, and a quorum is a simple majority. So for us, a quorum is 4 people, more than half, whatever more than half. We cannot hold a meeting unless we have a quorum. So today we've got a quorum, we've got 6 out of 7, so that's perfect. What's a piece that's important to know is that a quorum is not modified if the group is short members. That doesn't mean if somebody's absent, that means if somebody has resigned or 2 people have resigned from the board for some reason, they're no longer on the board, and they're vacancies on our board. The quorum doesn't change. It just requires us to have that same number. We have to have 4 people. So if we happen to be down to only 4 members on the board and we have 3 vacancies, everybody's got to be here, or we don't have a quorum and we can't do business. Once we fill those vacancies, clearly we have a vacancy, and the city council and the mayor were quick to act and get that taken care of. So that's not an issue for us at this moment, but it's important to remember that the number required for quorum for a 7-person board is not going to change if we are absent members. A meeting requires notice and agenda, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the elements of notice and agenda in a minute. A meeting includes workshops, executive sessions, as the video said, as well as things like staff briefings. Whether those meetings are in person or electronic, and the purpose of a meeting is to discuss, receive comments from the public about, act out a matter over which the public body or specific body has jurisdiction or advisory power. We have advisory power. We advise the city council, and they listen to us, and then they make their decision. What is not a meeting? A chance gathering or a social gathering is not a meeting. So while we were all a celebration, we were all over at the Hearthside the other day for our celebration. We were all in the same place. That was not considered a meeting for purposes of the Open Meetings Act. If we're all at some event, community event, it is not considered a meeting. A meeting of members of the public body or specific body that does not constitute a quorum when no action, either formal or informal, is taken. So as long as we're, if we're gonna meet and talk about business, it's a meeting. If we're going to meet for a social activity, we're gonna go Christmas caroling, that is not a meeting. Other things that are not a quorum, that don't constitute a quorum for purposes of a meeting are things like press conferences. They're not meetings provided no formal action is taken and any discussion of public is incidental to the authorized event. So if we were over at the Hearthside and we all sat down and started talking business, well, at that meeting, it actually would be a meeting. So we need to keep that in mind, that when we're all together, if we go down the hole of business, then we are creating a meeting that is subject to the Open Meetings Act. Notice an agenda for meetings, 24 hours notice in advance of the meeting, and it needs to be posted at the public body's office. And where else are you posting information?
We're posting it on the door to the town hall, as well as the door to our maintenance building.
Okay,
And we were posting it other places, and so that's kind of what we've narrowed it down to right now. And we will have a website where we can post it shortly, which will help us too.
that's perfect. We're in the development phase. It's all where things are gonna be growing and changing, but for right now, we're following the city council and the mayor's lead and doing things the way that they are doing them. Agendas, an agenda must be posted with the notice, and the notice must be reasonably specific. Reasonably specific is a legal term of art. And that means, the definition of that means that an average person would be on notice as to all the topics of discussion and action that's planned for the meeting. So things like boilerplate language and topics are not sufficient to meet those requirements. We wouldn't say, we acted on the topics that were discussed in the closed meeting. That's not sufficient. There needs to be enough detail in the agenda that lets people know what's going to take place. And discussion, for instance, if we invite a guest speaker to come speak to us on a specific issue, which I can anticipate we might do. And that we need to notice that on our agenda, who's gonna be coming and what are they gonna talk about? So people know if they wanna come and listen, not unlike the notice for the groundwater study. And they let everybody know who was going to be here and what they were going to be talking about. And that was a fantastic meeting. And there's an additional notice requirement that if we are going to hold meetings regularly scheduled in advance over the course of the year, we need to give notice at least once a year of the annual meeting schedule. Don't think we really are in a place that we can do that. I don't think that the city council is there either, to the best of my knowledge. We're still in the 24-hour notice timeline, but at some point we'll have a regular home and we'll know and we'll have a date and we'll be able to throw that out there, but we're not there yet.
We're close. I drafted it.
Yay!
So, and sent it to Janet today. So we've currently got, we did a resolution that our regular meetings for the city council will be the first and third Tuesdays. And I think the proposal was that the planning commission would be the second and fourth Tuesdays.
Right, yeah.
And we have cleared the schedule for this room for the year for those meetings.
Wonderful, so we are close for that.
We're close.
That's
It
fantastic.
just needs to go through the approval process.
Wonderful, wonderful. Electronic meetings. It is a part of the Weber County, of our Electronic Meetings Act. The Ogden Valley City has made that decision that we may hold and conduct electronic meetings. The meetings need to comply with the Open and Public Meetings Act. And appropriate notice needs to be given to every member of the body, so that everyone knows and has an opportunity to participate electronically. It's also, we also have to remember that, with electronic meetings, we have to be, the meeting has to be held at a location that allows public attendance of the open meeting. So we can't all sit home and there's nobody, because probably we'll have to have somebody in, like, if this is our location, that's where our host of the electronic meeting will be, because there might be members of the public that don't have access to the electronic meetings, and they need to be able to attend those meetings. So that every time, if we have an electronic meeting, we'll also have a physical location other than an emergency or something that relates to public health and safety, right? If during the pandemic, when things were shut down, if there was a meeting that went on, we would not have had a specific location, but maybe they would have not held meetings. And all the meetings still must have a recording and written minutes as per the Open Public Meetings Act. The written minutes of open meetings are there are many of them. So starting to go through, we've got pages, two pages and a little bit of details on what is required in minutes. I'm going to summarize that a little bit for you guys. We have to have the date, the time, the place of the meeting. We have to have the names of the members who are present and the members who are absent. We have to have the substance of all the matters proposed, discussed, or decided by the public body, which may include a summary of the comments. We have to have a record by individual member of each vote taken by the public body. And when I looked at the agenda for the city council meeting, that was printed right there so that they could, when I got in the mail, that they could mark that right then, so they had that record. I thought that's a great idea. We need the name of each person who makes a public comment and the substance of their comment. So that's why when the public comes up, we ask them to please stop, state their name, where they're from, their address, so we know. It's also why in the back we have a sign-ins. So we're kind of double checking. We know everybody who's here and everybody who wants to speak. And any other information that's a record of the proceedings that any member of the council and of the group wants to request be entered into the meeting or the recording. And we are definitely going to need some amazing folks. Because these are amazing folks and we're going to need our own. The Open and Public Meetings Act does not restrict members of a public body from transmitting electronic messages to other members. Email, I think is the biggest example. Maybe text messages too. You can do those things. If you can email your group when the body is not in an open meeting. You need to remember that all of those electronic messages are going to be subject to GRAMA, which is the Governmental Records and Access and Management Act. And I'm not going to go into GRAMA because we don't have that much time to go over all those things. Rights of the public. The public has a right to attend and a right to record. And so they have a right to attend, a right to record. We are making recordings of our meetings. Those recordings are going to be posted, but if somebody walks in here and says, I'm recording this meeting on my own, they can do that. Okay, there are often questions about, can somebody record that meeting? If they want to, they may do that. We will have a recording also, but they are welcome to do that should they choose to do so. If we're allowing public to speak, we may limit the time that they can speak, and we're probably going to have some protocol for that, but we cannot be discriminatory based on the speaker's views on the topic. It has to be applied fairly. So if we allow public comment, and we need to set that time and have every person who speaks may have that amount of time, regardless of whether they're for what's happening or against what's happening. We can't discriminate on that base. Emergency meetings, are meetings due to, yes, please.
Is there a specified time? Or do we determine?
We will determine that, and I don't know that we have done that yet.
We haven't by statute and municipal code defined a time.
Okay. That is fine. Okay.
The Open and Public Meetings Act allows for and expects the public to be able to participate in the meetings. As
They don't specify time.
they,
Yeah.
the act does no.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this meeting, I opened the meeting for public comment and I, not arbitrarily, but by tradition in our city council made it 2 minutes. But you could choose to make it 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
But
Whatever.
that doesn't, yeah, that's not established yet for the planning commission. I would imagine we may follow suit, but what can't happen is one person gets 15 minutes and the other person gets 3 minutes and told, hey, we're out of time, you need to go sit down. That's not allowable. So emergency meetings is another topic that they quickly went through in the video, and those are meetings that are due to unforeseen circumstances that must be articulable, and they can't wait for the next scheduled meeting. Honestly, I can't think of an example that's applicable to the planning commission meeting that would create an emergency. I can think of lots of examples that would apply to the city council and mayor, but I can't think of anybody, can you think of any, Brian? Are there emergencies that we couldn't just cancel? I mean, if we have an earthquake, I think the city council meeting can wait. I don't know. I guess we would decide that then, and
The intent of the meeting is the intent of an emergency meeting is to address an issue of extreme urgencies.
right, and I don't see that applying to us. I can't think of an example that applies to us, so I guess I don't foresee us doing that, but you never know.
I guess it could be in the scenario where you have a project that is, for whatever reason is under a very short timeline. You want to be considerate of the applicant, and so you are scheduling an additional meeting to make decisions regarding the application outside of your normal meeting schedule. I mean, I don't know if that would necessarily.
Well, in my reading of the statute, I guess I didn't see that would be, that we could call an extra meeting, but it would need 24 hours notice, but I didn't think that would be an emergency, because I believe that's like a 2-hour notice time.
I'll make your thing real quick.
Yes, please.
Lisa didn't arbitrarily choose a member of the public to allow that thing to talk. Brian Carver, who I'm going to officially introduce here momentarily, is our new city clerk.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what happens if what happens if we violate the Open Public Meetings Act. First of all, the court can void any action that's a violation of the law. But it's possible to ratify the action that is in error. And so we're going to try to do it right. We're going to try to do it right. We're going to have Brian to help us. We've got an attorney. We're going to do everything we can to not make mistakes, but mistakes sometimes happen. We could have to pay the court costs and attorney's fees if we violate the act. And a member of the public body who intentionally violates or intentionally abets or advises in violation of the closed meetings provision of a chapter is guilty of a Class B misdemeanor, and which could result in 6 months in jail and or $1,000 fine. So we don't want to violate, OPMA. What are some common violations? Things like closing a meeting without members of the public body voting first in an open meeting, close the meeting. We're going to go into an open session and we say, okay, we're going, but we have to vote first. So just skipping over those process points is not okay. Conducting a closed meeting for reasons other than those that are allowed by the OPMA. Taking official or final action in a closed meeting. Or failing to properly provide notice of a public meeting. Disruptions of meetings. The Open Meetings Act does not prohibit the removal of any person from a meeting if the person willfully disrupts the meeting to the extent that orderly conduct is seriously compromised. And in my other job, I often get questions about what do we do if someone is really behaving badly and they can be asked to leave. The Open and Public Meetings Act does not prohibit that. I don't anticipate that happening. We're a great community and I don't anticipate that happening, but it's important to know because if it happens in the moment, it's upsetting for everyone and we need to know what we can do about that. The Open and Public Meetings Act training is required annually. And the presiding officer of the public body is the one that ensures that this happens. Some final tips and helpful suggestions would be, I would suggest we all print off the Open Public Meetings Act and so that we have that as a reference as we're learning and going forward. The book that we got earlier in our orientation was really helpful. And I think I put that with all my information. Don't forget, we don't want to forget the 24 hours notice. We don't want to forget to be specific with our agenda items. No old business, new business. That's not specific enough on our agenda. Aren't going to be able to say anything like action taken on items discussed in the closed meeting. That's not sufficient. Closed meetings only for allowed statutory purposes and follow the process. I also was racking my brain. I'm not exactly sure when we would want to close a meeting, but there are a couple occasions maybe if we needed to confer with legal counsel or those are some of the exceptions that I saw. I guess we'll learn as we go whether or not those actually apply to us. Provide our minutes in a timely manner. Don't text during meetings. Receive trainings once per year. If we're going to err on the side of transparency. And when in doubt, consult your legal counsel. I haven't met him yet. I don't know who it is, but we will. So that's kind of what I prepared. Does anybody, what do you guys want to discuss? Any questions?
Who's the legal counsel?
The city legal counsel is Corbett Gordon. He will be available to you as needed. You'll get a chance to meet him in person. He lives in Heber City, so he's not local, but he'll participate as necessary in meetings as well, as you guys get to it.
Hey, Lisa,
Like,
question,
Yeah.
regarding recording, people coming in to have the right to record, do they have to disclose that or can they just come in and start recording?
They don't need to disclose it. We have our own recording and that's all that's what we need. They also have access to our recording. So, I kind of don't know why anybody would want to do that, but there are times people who feel like they want to do that and they're certainly allowed to do so.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
give you guys a helpful hit on emailing and texting while you can. So the 7 of you, I'll use you, Lisa, as an example. Lisa could send an email to her 6 colleagues saying, colleagues, here's an issue that might come up, here's some information. If you begin a back and forth conversation on email, that becomes a conversation amongst the planning commission and could be subject and probably is subject to the Open and Public Meetings Act.
Well, I think,
We have been told this.
okay, and that's fine, go ahead, yeah,
The hint is, it's okay to provide information,
right.
but to begin a conversation where you're talking about the business of the planning commission in electronic media.
And it would be more appropriate to be like saying, okay, this is something we need to make sure is on our agenda
Perhaps.
for a meeting. Yes, Kate?
It's Kay Hoagland for the council, and also I have oversight of the legal matters and work directly with Corbin, and I actually got clarification from him today and he cautioned even about those emails, saying you have to be cautious that they are not showing deliberation or advancing a decision or direction on business matters. What they do emphasize in a lot of training is you can always pick up the phone and talk to people, and public officers often find that's kind of an easier and more effective way to talk with their colleagues and
have
just discuss
questions,
matters, yeah. Okay.
You may conclude that this is very inefficient. And it is by the design by the state of Utah to be very inefficient. Well, I don't know if that's the design, it's the fact. We as public officials can only do the people's business when we are publicly.
So if I have information about, say, an upcoming issue or something that has been discussed previously, but no, voting has taken place, like just basic information, maybe a table of something or specification. Or am I getting in hot water with that?
No, it's just providing information, but if you start advocating, and saying, I urge us all to do this and this and this, then you start flirting with.
Then we're deliberating,
Yeah.
then we're deliberating, which is what we do here, but if somebody calls me and says, hey, there's a short-term rental over here that is out of control, I don't know, there's a party that is violating our noise ordinance if we have one. And if I let people know, hey, this is an issue that's going on, you know, then we'll need to address. I think that's a different matter. We're not deliberating anything.
No opinion, I get it.
Any other questions? You're gonna get a lot of chance to learn how to do this over the course of the next couple of years. Is that to the protocol?
I'm not doing the protocol. So Peggy was gonna do the protocol and she switched the names and she put me on there and I said, I think we ought to wait for Tyson because that was Tyson's protocol that he developed.
Okay.
So Peggy said she agreed.
Okay, so we're gonna defer agenda item number 3 to a later planning commission.
Actually, this is a learning process here. I put that down exactly on how I explained the act. Lisa took a different tack, so we did it.
I think we did it.
We just did it in a different form.
Okay.
We did not use the discussion protocol.
We didn't use the discussion.
So
Okay.
we did it.
Yeah.
So I think it's done. Nice job, and I feel like you're doing it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, members of the commission for participating in it. It is now my pleasure to introduce our new city planner, Brian Carver. Come on up here, Brian. Brian is an employee of JUB Engineering, which is the same company that has provided our city engineer, Nate Smith, and our deputy city engineer, Matt Spunk. So we're pleased to have Brian on the team. Brian, I will invite you to introduce yourself to the planning commission and to the public. And other than that, this section is simply your introduction of yourself to us.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Councilman. My name is Brian Carter. I am the lead planner for the state of Utah for JUB Engineers. I've been working for JUB for about almost a year and a half now. Prior to that, I spent 18 years working as the Community Development Director for Bear River Association of Governments, which is the regional planning organization for Box Elder, Cache, and Rich counties. And I spent a considerable amount of time in that position providing technical assistance to small local governments who lacked capacity of their own in managing land use decisions and administration. And so I'm very honored that you selected me to serve. And I'm very excited to be able to work through this process with you. Establishing a new community is not something you get to do every day. And you definitely have your work cut out for you as a commission. And I'm very excited to be able to help walk through the process with you and guide you in setting up the structure and the foundation for being able to, choose your own destiny going forward into the future. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are really looking forward to working with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Brian will stay and talk a little bit after for dinner.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and I've got contact information I can pass out too, so.
Thank you, Lauren. Is Greg Hansen demonstrating GIS remotely or?
No, I'm the backup. He's still on an airplane.
He's on an airplane trying to get back to Boston right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. There's some snow in Boston.
It's about behind you, so.
Yeah, right. So are you gonna demonstrate it, Sharon?
Going to, but I think he's gonna have to.
So, okay,
So
so the intent is to show Weaver County's GeoGizmo and the zones and how to go look at them. Is that
Yes.
the purpose?
that is the intent, so. And I am not this, I don't have the same level of expertise that Craig has. So like I said, I'm the backup. And, you know, I can show you some things. If you have a lot of questions, I may not be able to answer you, just so you know. Thank
Let
you.
me throw an audible real quick.
Okay,
How familiar are you, sir, Brian, with the
do you want to do
Weaver
it?
County's GeoGizmo?
I mean,
I have extensive experience with GIS.
So,
I was gonna say.
so I've just thrown an audible and perhaps our planner quarterback can.
So, I can start if you wanna come up here.
Joke is that planners get into planning because we want to make a difference in the community, but it really just boils down to we like looking at maps, so.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
the
so
reason I'm acting like I don't exactly know the agenda is I was called up off the bench 5 minutes before the meeting started, so that's a horrible excuse. So the intent, I believe, is to show the planning commission how to look at the geographical information system, the actual maps of Ogden Valley City and the zones, right?
Yes, this is the beginning of our work as planners. So what we want you to be able to do is to get in and look at the tools. Weaver County has, this is available for residents. It's going to continue to be available for us for a while. And we need this as we look at our blank slate. We have zoning maps to do, we have zones, we have ordinances. So this is the very first step in doing that. So a brief, maybe 10-15 minute look at it.
so I can do that one.
5 minutes.
Not unless Brian takes over.
Don't let me, I'll drive you in case.
So-
Get lost.
So very quickly, it's easy to find. Craig actually put together a PowerPoint that has the beautiful pictures of the GIS that we can send to all of you. He sent it to us today. So it has, the little circles around things so that you know exactly where to go. My intent was just to show you dynamically so that you actually see it rather than just seeing a picture in a presentation. So I go in there easily and quickly just by going into Weaver County GIS. So you just use Bing or whatever browser you choose and just go into Weaver County GIS. Come on.
So it's slow when you gotta share.
Yes.
Oh, Ron's trying to get in.
I got it. No. That's done. Okay. Okay. I'm wondering if I'm on the internet now.
You wanna do it within the time on the internet?
Well, this is not good.
What do you have on the tab on the top left?
That was my tab that I had open earlier.
Oh, I see, okay, so.
Okay, good call. I was trying to just do it, but here we can. You saw it, I went to the browser. This is what you get. So Weaver County GIS. And then the best resource, from what I've been told, is GeoGizmo in terms of going in and looking at things. So you just click on GeoGizmo. And you're required to go through, see if we can get it on, required to go through that. And what it brings up is just the base map for Weber County. So this, most of what you see here is Ogden. So, you know, we're up here. So you can actually just drag and drop. We know what we're gonna be looking at here. It's not in the middle. You can go bigger or smaller, zoom in or zoom out. See, zooming in, zooming out. When you probably don't want to look at Ogden, you probably want to look at Ogden Valley. So for now, they actually have a layer for Ogden Valley. One layer that's proposed. I expect that once they get that's updated, that we will not have to click on this layer. This is just an extra step right now because the GIS has not been updated with our city. So you have to have this layer. Then this gives us the boundary for our city. And then if you want to zoom in, you can zoom in and see there's our city. You can see here it has Huntsville kind of as an outline. If you want to see solid boundaries, it actually gives you a little bit more. It gives you the names of the cities. It gives you a more solid boundary. So it helps you look at things. The way that you look at the zones is by going down to some other layers. If you look at the engineering layer, then you get the zones, and then you get more detail with the planning layer. So this gives us everything that we would want to look at from what I understand. You know, so now you can get rid of the layer list by just clicking the up button. Now you can see, here's our city, here's our zones. If you wanted to look at a specific address, you can do that here. Is there somebody that wants to look at their address?
You can do my address for different videos if you want.
Okay.
3809.
Have you paid your taxes?
I have.
3809
North Riverbed Road.
North
Rivers
Edge Road. Oops. Not Tennessee.
It is 2 words, Riverbend, yeah. 2 words for Riverbend.
Okay, so now we see it, it's right here. So if I click on that one. Here we go, we're looking at your house. And you can see lots of information about the house. You're having, what is it, 83 is your zone?
Yes.
So that, if you want to go back, see, we kind of went into the layer a little bit, you can actually go back out. So you click the back arrows, that takes you back out. So you can always go like forward a page and backward a page. That'll let you kind of flip through between a couple of things here and there if you need to. The only other thing that I was thinking about that you might want to know, and I don't know, Brian, if we need it or not, is no, wrong one. I did a right click on the zone. And then you could go over to the 3 dots. And you can look at the attribute table. This gives you all of the information that's available about that particular zone. I noticed one of them that I looked at earlier.
Before you move quickly, if you'll see on kind of on that table on the right hand side, you have a link. And that link can take you to the actual ordinance that describes the uses and restrictions within that zone.
Okay.
This is currently set up for Weber County's ordinance. But I spoke with the Weber County GIS director earlier today, and they have agreed to let us to continue to host information on this system. So once the city has a zoning map and and related ordinances ready to adopt, we can provide that information, including links to the county, so that anybody can view the map and look at the zone and then link immediately to the ordinance language that describes how that zone functions.
See if there's anything more of interest. I thought way over here, at least on one of them I clicked on, it had a study. This one doesn't seem to, a reference for a
So,
study.
yeah, we can reference all kinds of
And
additional.
there was at least one that I looked at earlier today that did have a reference to a study. So if we end up doing another study or want to refer to a study, we could add it there.
Would that be like a geological study or something for engineers? Might mean something.
Whatever information you desire to be made available to the public can be listed up there. For example, development agreements for subdivisions could be placed there. The planned residential unit development agreements. You could put CCNRs for a homeowners association up there if you want, if the HOA agrees to it. I mean, you can put any information up there that you want the public to have access to.
So you can see, you can zoom back out, look at the big picture, zoom in, look at a specific parcel. You can get all of the zones. You can get information, the detailed information about the zone and any other, ordinance references or anything else that we end up posting up there. Is there any other thing that you would need to see about this?
I'm good. All right, now I think we're gonna have to get into.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, I wanna get in there.
Get rid of the games in your iPhone and start playing with it.
I was gonna say, you will wanna just go in and play with it. It's not hard to use. It's very intuitive to use. That's not an issue, but I think just being able to drill down into the specifics that you require for your purpose is gonna be, it's fun to play with. It's just fun to move around.
But the purpose and where the zones are from Weber County, these are our own zones, where they were, what parcels they incorporated. I mean, it's important to see what was, because people in this news expect, some kind of reasonableness as we move into the new city. But this is first. No.
This is
This was current as of the 1st of January.
Okay.
We are now a city. One of our very first tasks, yours than ours, is to create the zoning map of the new city.
Right.
So we could adopt this as is. We can change it.
But
in
as I'm
ways.
looking at it, to do our job, it's current as of.
Before we
Until we make changes.
Until
Well, we're kind of in neutral zone.
Yeah,
We're in nothing land.
Oh, okay.
it's
We're in moratorium back.
because of the moratorium, nothing can be done
But
within that map. Well, very little. can be done. But does that make sense?
yeah, it does.
Okay. But right up, the first of the docket is determining Arizona.
Okay.
So we're getting a feel for where the zones were, I think is helpful.
Right. Yeah, I put right on the.
Sharon, you did a marvelous job. Thank you, Brian, for jumping in. Okay.
Thank you, Brian.
So the next on the agenda is an update from Angela Dean, who was a member of the transition team. I'm going to turn it over to you, Angela.
Okay, hi, everyone. So the transition timeframe basically occurred between November election 2024 and this January 2nd. It was, how to set up the city, and there were many volunteers, team leads, Kay, Janet, Madison, others were involved in different aspects of preparing the city. Janet took on the role of strategically mapping out a process of review of every single zone with volunteers from the community that were interested. And so if you could pull up, you have the presentation? Yes. We just kind of talked through how she structured that, just give you a bit of history. Some of you probably participated, and then how many participated in? Yeah, so that's great. I'll just close that up.
Trying to open this way. Sending this, I can't start. That's it. You share the right screen now?
Working on all anytime. So yeah, well, they're getting that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
Sorry, the Zoom controls make it so it takes up so much of my screen, it's hard to see. There you go.
Okay, we can progress to the next slide, please. So this is a list of this, the plan was to basically take Weber County's codes that were current and then just review and comment on how do we feel about them? Do we have any edits that we would like to suggest? And it was a very open process where there wasn't debate necessarily to say your idea is better than your idea. It was just get the ideas on the table. So there were probably 80 volunteers broken into teams, these 8 different groups you can see on the left. And so she held weekly meetings in person where people would come together, focus on a particular zone that week. And so that would change week by week. So it rotated so that every group had a chance to comment on as many zones as possible. So that's what that table is just showing, the structure of how that was mapped out. Not all of the zones got addressed, but nearly all of them. And so all of the documents are stored in a source that Kathy is putting together to share with us all as a commission. And I'll kind of show you some samples of how that fleshed out. And on the right are basically, again, the zones that were applicable at the time in Weber County. And the thought is, rather than start from scratch, people are familiar with the zone they live in. Let's see if we can just make it workable and make some corrections and adjustments to those. So that was the overriding process at that time. And so if you go to the next slide, again, this is sort of a list. This is a mix. The focus was on the zoning ordinances from number 3 down, not necessarily administrative and processes and things. That's going to be the purview of the council. But just to show you kind of the full scope of what it takes to basically build an ordinance. It's more than just the zones themselves, but that's where the focus of that work was. It would be the focus of the commission. In addition, the general plan needs to be amended and approved before any zoning ordinance can be recommended for approval to the council. That can all be worked on simultaneously, but just in terms of the process of approvals, we'll need to approve the general plan first. And so my understanding with that was also part of the group review process and commenting. My understanding is that given our short time frame of 4 months to go for this moratorium, that the general plan is a great document. It just needs some adaptations due to the boundaries of our new city, some new studies that have taken place since 2019, and just some technical corrections. But then looking down the road, there's a grant application out there to really launch a bigger effort, community-wide effort down the road. But for starters, we're feeling pretty confident that we can use this document as is and make some fixes so that we can keep moving forward expeditiously with getting people the land use ordinances to their applications in. And so that is in the works, and then we can go to the next slide. So in terms of how the process fleshed out, there were a number of ways people provided comments, which worked great for them. Unfortunately, it makes it a little more complicated to disseminate all of this information. Some people, made hand comments, some people typed up red lines, some people added comments directly to documents. And so there are a number of places that we need to coalesce all of this, all of these comments and all of this good feedback. For our task, I think we need to read all of it. We need to consider all of these comments and decide where we fall out, because they're not, like I said, they weren't debated, they weren't selected of whose comment was most important. And so that's going to be some time consuming effort that's needed as we go through this. And so I think once Kathy shares this Google document, you'll see, and we can walk through where all of that data is and move forward with that. So we can go to the next slide. I was asked to just do a brief kind of overview of what a zoning ordinance is. And for those of us that really haven't gone through a process, you wouldn't necessarily go look there for it and building or designing something. So this is just the typical components of a zoning ordinance that we would consider sort of the template that we would flesh out and fill in, if you will, as we build it. So there's a reference, there's the purpose of intent, which is really kind of the philosophy, if you will. We want this to be a neighborhood feel, or we want this to be, have open space, or we want a commercial node, what it is you're trying to get out of this zone. The land use table is typically, everything from, is it a daycare? Is it a house? Is it a, cemetery? What can happen as a function on that piece of ground? You have either permitted, conditionally permitted, or not permitted. As you've all read in our book, Craig Hall book, he emphasized that conditionally permitted is essentially a permitted use. It's really difficult to deny those. And so maybe we don't have any conditionally permitted. We just decide we want it or we don't want it. The reason why you would have conditional uses is if, well, maybe we want a little bit of say about it, but really there's not a lot of teeth in our decision-making process with conditional use. So my advice would be to just not bother with it, but we can discuss that. And then special regulations, that would be things that are just very unique to the type of zone you're in, whether it's agricultural or residential or commercial. They would have just unique characteristics that wouldn't necessarily fall under a specific permit, if you say. That might be sensitive land, slope restrictions, parking signage, landscaping, hours of operation, maybe special noise considerations, anything at all that we feel would be an issue in that zone. And then we would get into site development standards. And this is kind of what most people focus on. You have your lot, your piece of ground, it's a certain dimension. So within each zone, we'll have to decide what size is appropriate for that zone, how many acres would be appropriate for a house or a business or whatever it is. There's sometimes the minimum width, so street frontage of that. There's setbacks, which are saying, that the structure needs to be X distance from each side of the property. And that's really just, to be good neighbors and have a little buffer space. And all of these apply, and then you get to building height. And all of these apply to both a main structure as well as an accessory structure. So main structure, again, a typical residential would be the house, right? An accessory structure would be maybe a detached garage or a shed or barn. And those often have different setback requirements and different height requirements and other things. You might also have different setbacks for special features like a pool. That would fall outside of a main structure and an accessory structure. It's just a unique feature. So maybe that has a special requirement. So that's kind of the format. And then I just included a sample ordinance. Again, this is Weber County, just to, it's really hard to read, sorry. I guess, you can pull up any of the ordinances, and this is just fleshed out a little bit of these different, formats that I just went through, the purpose statement. On the right-hand side, it's an example of the table of permitted uses. So you can see it's just a really long grocery list of all the uses people can think of. And the really curious thing that as I was going through this, there was something in one of the ordinances about chinchillas. Chinchillas. That was.
In 83, it's the most. It's also raised frogs.
About the chinchillas in this,
There were big chinchilla farms in Morgan.
okay. Wasn't aware of that. So yeah, you can see it has Ps for each category, and so those are all permitted uses. If you scroll to the top a little bit, another thing to note, so you have F5, F10, F40. So those are almost subzones within a broader category, right? So you'll have A zones, which are agriculture currently, and you might have various numbers of agriculture zones that have slight differences to them. This is forest zone, so you have 3 different forest zones, and they have slightly different characteristics, whether it's size or setbacks or uses. And so that's something that we need to consider too. It's not just a matter of saying all residential zones are going to be this. There might be, higher density residential zones or, different characteristics. So you can zoom back out and have some diagrams for me. So those are all uses, and then we get into the building regs. And at the bottom,
Keep going down.
yeah, because nobody can read it anyway. So, so on the right-hand side, just some easy diagrams about what I mentioned with setbacks. So the upper right shows you the outside line is your property line. And then the inside dashed box are your setbacks from each side. So you'll need to know where the front of your building is. On corner lots, there are unique situations, but mostly it's pretty easy to figure out where your front of your building is facing the street. And that'll establish the front, rear, and side yard setbacks. And then again, the accessory structure will have different requirements. In this case, it's showing, well, you can even say it has to be set back from the front of the house. So you can't have a garage in front of the house in some zones, right? So those are all decisions of how do we want the look and feel of the community and of a neighborhood. And we can affect that in some ways by where these accessory structures are placed. And if you go to you scroll down to the height, we have lots of sloped areas that are built on here. So this is looking at height limits, and there's different ways to approach height. Sometimes it's from existing grade to a ridge. Sometimes it might follow in step as the grade steps up. So your building could tier and be higher on the upper hillside than the lower hillside. So those are, again, decisions we want to make when we start talking about height. And that's a fire hose quick version of zoning. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
This is a massive amount of work. What I'm talking about.
Oh wait, there's 2 more slides, sorry. Let me pull that back up. Speaking of the massive amount, sorry.
Yes, there's 10 zones at least, and there's a couple we have to really have some tough discussions on. That we want to continue doing that, want to continue. So we have to have those discussions along with writing all of these things in the next 5 months. That's our timeline. It's sooner the better, but we have to do this over.
Yes, so and back to that point, there are several zones that were in the Weber County zoning ordinance that just were never utilized in our valley, that were very specific to the west side of the mountains, right? So we can't just simply say, well, why won't we just adopt those zones? Because they just don't apply. And so we are a blank slate, even though it does still show in GeoGizmo that there are those past zones are not applicable today because we might adopt and amend them, but and so this is just kind of our call to action of, we have till June 3rd, I believe, to get all of this in place. Or July 3rd or June? July.
July.
6 months since July 3rd.
Yeah,
We would
Yes.
desperately like.
Let's do it by June 3rd.
But we wanna get it right. It has to be
Yes.
right.
Right.
It needs to be wrong.
So this is kind of the flow of immediate actions, I guess, along those lines. So I talked about amending and adopting the general plan. We'll need a public hearing on that. And then we can forward the recommendation to the council. Same goes for all of the land use codes. We'll work with staff on the actual writing of the document with our guidance and our suggestions, is my understanding. Thank you very much. And then also those might have a series of public hearings. I can't imagine doing all of that at once. So we'll need to probably break those into buckets that are manageable. So we have, the public has a chance to comment on all of those. And then we also then need to apply those ordinances to a map. So using GeoGizmo, coordinating with IT, sketching out, maybe it's like for like zones, right? Somebody's R3, maybe it's still an R3, but it has some tweaks to it, or maybe it's an entirely new zone. We don't know yet, right? So that all needs to be mapped out. Again, public hearings, recommendation of the council. So, and then on the side, I just have some other things that maybe you are all talking about, council, but development agreement standards, how we handle subdivisions. Sometimes there are overlay zones that we didn't talk about, and I don't know if they apply here or not, something to hash out, but whether they're historic or design, environmental, and then what are we gonna do about TDRs is up for discussion. And so if you go to the next slide. So to get all that done before July 3rd, maybe June 3rd, I think we should consider adding some work sessions instead of our every other to get it done, whether it's weekly plus our regular meeting, and that obviously would be an open meeting. As people, wanted to observe our working through it, but it wouldn't be public hearings yet. I think we should get some public hearings on the schedule so that we can map out our timeline for how we're going to accomplish all of this so quickly. And then work on updating the general plan with comments that have already been received. And coalescing around all of our final ordinance language. So that's all I have.
That's all great. Thank you.
Did you have anything to comment there?
No, thank you, but I did want to chat with you about this after you selected your leadership to try and come up with a kind of a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you've put together an excellent work plan here.
Cool.
Thank you, Angela.
Thanks.
This is Fred. Yes, thanks, Don. Question. So the public hearings, when would they come on the three respective areas? Do we make our modifications to each and then have a public hearing on each, or do we start off with a public hearing?
No, we want to have something to present and propose to the public. So we can get it scheduled, but no, we'll need to decide as a commission first what we're proposing.
Okay, so we'll have a draft commission recommended
Yes.
general plan, for example, and then that will go to public hearing. We'll take those comments and then we'll discuss them in that public hearing, I imagine, and then take those, and then the commission would decide on where to go next with that, whether to make some changes and then recommend it to the city council.
Right.
Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be done to go to the city council, has to have that same similar process, correct? Having a public meeting, and so we have to really do these things simultaneously. We can't wait and do one and then pass it on. I think we need to be working on
Multiple tracks.
Multiple tracks, yes, thank you.
Definitely.
I'm stuck there this time, but yeah, so we're gonna we have a lot of work to do. So yes, just 2 meetings a month is not gonna do it. You can see that right now with the work we have. So yeah, once we decide our leadership and how we want to move forward, then we can start nailing those down.
Okay.
Thank you, Angela. Fred, any other questions?
Well, I would think, we should master schedule this whole thing since there's a number of steps in the 3 areas and not just start down a path with the goal of we're done by July 15th or whatever it is, That way we can see as we go if we're, gaining ground or losing ground.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that's something we need to flesh out at a later meeting. Not tonight, but I think we do need a plan. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, probably not tonight, but that's probably the next step is to put together that master schedule for the 3 initiatives.
Yep.
I agree, but I think tonight we still have a half an hour and we're gonna, decide on your leadership here. And then I think we can start scheduling some, get into the work and look at it.
Yeah.
Get familiar with it.
I think we should schedule.
Yeah, I do too. So at least some, and with Brian here and help and support, so let's jump in, Jane.
So what I recommend we do is I will facilitate a process by which you, the planning commission, choose your leadership. But what you will choose is a chair and a vice chair. We have all but one member here tonight to be nominated and or vote. Let me describe what the jobs are. In the planning commission, the chair chairs the meetings. They can vote, whereas the mayor of our city cannot vote except in very limited circumstances. The chair of the planning commission is a member of the commission, chairs the meetings and can vote. However, cannot make a motion when she or he is sitting as chair. Frames a topic for discussion and actions to be taken, maintains order, runs the meetings, enforces time limits, follows the Open and Public Meeting Act, and sets the agenda. Usually in coordination with everybody else, both on the planning commission with the planner. The vice chair can make motions when he or she is the vice chair, but in the absence of the chair, that person is the chair. So it's pretty simple. You're the chair in waiting, like I am tonight. I showed up. I said, "Hey, get your gavel out. You're going to tell one of you is selected as the chair, and then I'm going to gladly hand over the gavel of this meeting to you, and you can take the meeting to the end." Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm ad-libbing how to go about doing this. I have been told by Peggy that all of you were approached on whether or not you might be interested in being chair or no.
No, just the 2 that I didn't think were gonna make it, Fred and Tyson.
Okay.
I thought you could speak for yourself.
Okay, my
I
bad.
just want to make sure if they weren't here and they wanted to be considered, they had that opportunity. So, but Fred's on, so he can speak for himself. Tyson could not get internet, so, and he said, no, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. You would like to learn for a little bit.
I can facilitate it. I can go down the line and ask you each if you're interested. I'm gonna start with Fred, since Peggy mentioned his name. Fred, Peggy says here that you have expressed willingness or interest in being chair or vice chair. Is that true?
Well, Peg, you must think I'm crazy. No, I did say I'd be willing. If that would be helpful, I would certainly be willing to do that. I've had experience chairing groups and teams in the past, and I'd be happy to do that. I also don't have a burning desire to. If somebody else does have a burning desire to and feels that their mission in the valley is to chair this planning commission, but I am capable of doing it and willing to do it.
Thank you, Fred. Shall I just go down the line and ask each of you?
I have a question. for
Yes.
Nominate people?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask a nomination that,
Okay.
thank you. What I suggest we do is I give you each an opportunity to express whether or not you're interested.
I'm gonna do it, Jason.
Okay, and then,
I'm trying not to do it.
Right. Okay. and after you have the opportunity to say yes or no, or be quiet.
Yeah.
Then I will ask for a nomination for chair. And if somebody's nominated,
We don't nominate somebody who's just gonna say no, thank you.
well,
Right.
I would suggest you don't do that.
Right.
But there could be more than one nominee, so, I'm not gonna just say a nominee, but, and then you guys will discuss. We'll get to a nominee, we'll have a vote, majority will win that vote, then we'll do the vice chair. Am I making sense?
Terry started down here.
Well, does the process make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so Terry, you pulled the Jason, you said?
Yeah, you're not feeling like my experience level is probably what it needs to be.
Okay.
I'm the same. I do not wish to serve as chair or vice chair.
Please.
When I listen to you describe the duties of the chair, I think those are duties that I could do, and have done in other capacities working for the state. So if I were nominated, I would accept a nomination. If there's somebody else who wants to do much more, that's also great.
I would be happy to serve as vice chair.
Jim.
And nominate Lisa too.
No, I'm actually honored to be a commissioner, but I'm not interested in the leadership.
In leadership.
I've done it in the past, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank
So we
you.
might as well just, I nominate Lisa too.
So I heard two individuals who expressed willingness to be chair. They were Lisa and Fred. Fred, would you wish to continue considering being nominated as chair? You had it
Yes.
down?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's fine.
He said yes.
Yes, he would.
Yes.
Okay,
No. Yes, we get two.
now we,
Oh,
Did Fred and I vote or not vote? Oh, we have to nominate.
Yeah, we need a nominee.
I nominate Lisa
I second it.
okay, I have a,
For chair or?
for chair.
okay, so this vote is for the chair of the Ogden Valley City Planning Commission. Do I hear a nomination for the chair?
I nominate Lisa.
Lisa Arbogast.
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Carrie Zinger is seconded. Any discussion? Amongst the members of the planning commission, I'm gonna do a roll call vote, yea or nay, on the nomination of Lisa Arbogast as the chair. Jim?
Yeah.
Angela?
Yes.
Lisa?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
We have a unanimous vote, 6 aye, 0 nay. Congratulations, Chair.
I'm sorry.
Chair, I will continue the process to get the vice in place. And then I'm gonna hand over metaphorically the gavel to you to complete the meeting tonight with the, right, with the.
I get to use your gavel.
I'll even let you use the mayor pro tem's gavel. I'm gonna remind you to make sure you ask for a motion to close the meeting with a second. So do I hear a nomination for vice chair of the Ogden Valley City Planning Commission?
I nominate Angela.
A second.
That's very quick. Yes, sir.
What's the term for these positions?
These are 1 year.
1 year.
Very good question. Thank you.
And yes.
And so everybody will.
Oh, at the end of the year, I do not do it.
We have a motion and we have a nomination.
Do we have any other
Are
nominations?
there any other nominations for vice chair. I have a nomination of Angela as the vice chair. Roll call vote again.
Can I nominate myself?
You can?
Yes, you
Okay, I'll
can.
nominate myself for vice chair.
Okay.
We have a nomination. Do I have a second? Brad, don't take it personally. No, nobody's done a second for you as the for vice chair.
Okay, I understand.
Therefore, we have one nominee for vice chair, Angela Dean. I will do a roll call vote starting with Terry. Terry,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Lisa,
Yes.
Angela,
Yes.
Jim, Fred.
No,
We
how
have,
about that?
There you go.
we have 5 ayes, 1 no. Angela is the elected vice chair of the Ogden Valley Planning Commission.
You can have it next, all right?
Congratulations. With that, Madam Chair. What's that?
One more item the next meeting.
Well, I'm gonna let her continue the meeting
Okay.
to the end, and I'm gonna move my seat back and let her.
Thank you.
You can-
Okay, all right, wow. The next meeting that we have scheduled is for February 10th, 2026 with Craig Hall. And yes,
I would just like to make sure you guys would give me your email addresses for file access.
absolutely, I already did. So anybody else who has not
Yeah, I just.
given her
Aaron's
email addresses, please do so before we leave. It's actually, it is, we have 20 minutes left of our time. Do we want to consider adding any other meetings? Our next scheduled meeting is February 10th. Do we want to try to schedule another?
2 meetings a month is not gonna get.
It's not going to get us done.
But I think in order to do that, I think we have to have an idea of what we want to accomplish in the meeting.
Right, and I don't think
we some.
And I don't know if we have time to hash that out today, but I also don't wanna wait.
Okay,
I don't wanna wait till the 10th to do that.
okay.
Are we, yeah, are we able to go
But
every
even on
Tuesday?
Tuesdays,
right now?
then we might have conflict with the building.
That's something
Yeah.
that we, if you propose a time, we can check on the building availability.
Could we do it over Zoom and have it be an open meeting?
We can. Because we can have electronic meetings if we need to, but we still have to have a room
We still have.
where we have to have a space where it's available for the public to come.
Right.
If they wanna hear it that way and not over Zoom.
So what do you know about what's happening here? on
There's-
Tuesdays?
There
City
are,
council.
and the evenings are pretty much booked except for Friday. During the day. I don't remember the planning commission. I think the planning commission is in the afternoon and it's on either Wednesdays or Thursdays. Monday, all of it, and Monday night, there's something else scheduled. I think we just have to ask.
Okay,
The Tuesday afternoons.
is anybody available earlier during the days?
I'm available all day, every day.
Yeah.
Tuesdays are good days for me if we stick with Tuesdays.
The plan or the city council meets from 6 to 8 in here on Tuesdays. So if you want to do anything prior to 6, that would be great.
Our city council or Huntsville City Council?
Ours. So we're here.
Tuesday from 6 to 8.
So what if we did 4 to 6?
On Tuesday, the 3rd?
Yeah.
Um,
Little too late here.
That might be a little too close. What about 3 to 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
3 to 5?
We're setting up for the council meeting at 5.
Yeah.
So you would have to be done by.
So 2 to 4? Is that, are we backing it up?
Okay, say that again.
2 until 4 or 2:30 till 4:30?
I'm fine with any of those.
Same.
Fred?
Yeah, sorry, what? what was the time slot?
Fred, would you be able to meet on Tuesdays? At between 2 and 4 or 2:30 to 4:30 by Zoom. If not in person, we're looking for additional days to be able to add extra meetings so we can really get going. And that seems to be a reasonable time that the room is available. And we could have people attend via Zoom also. But we have to have a room so that the public has a place to come listen if they want to.
And is this the regular planning commission meeting or additional meetings?
Additional, initially we said we were going to try to meet on the second and fourth Tuesdays. And we had this, that we only established this time for this meeting, I believe. We're trying to add some additional meetings so we can get going. We don't want to wait until the 10th to do anything. And so I think what we're proposing is February 3rd as our next meeting from 2:30 to 4:30, Peggy? Yes.
Sorry, Lisa, I just want to make sure, we reserved it every second and fourth Tuesday evening for you.
Oh, you did?
That is set for the rest of the year.
That's set for
That's set for the year.
So we can have it in the evenings on second and fourth.
Right.
If we wanted another time.
For hearings, I would recommend evenings, so.
Yes, so people can be here. For work sessions, right, would that be, would we want the additional meetings then to say that they are work sessions? And it's not available that same time because you're here.
Well, we're here every week for a work session on Monday afternoons. So, and we're here the first and third Tuesday at 6.
Right.
So so if you bump it up, Kathy and Sharon have to get in here to set up by 5.
At 5.
So anything before that, I believe, Shannon said she reserved for us Tuesdays.
Okay, so I'm thinking, well, they said that would push us pretty tight into them, so what about
What?
2:30 to 4:30?
We start the setup at 5, so if you were to go long, we would be interfering.
But if we were done at 5.
But if you were done at 5, I usually show up right at 5.
Well, I think it's nice to have it.
To have it?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's good.
3 to 5.
Yeah, I'm good with that, 3 to 5
3 to 5.
on the first and third
For the time being.
Tuesdays for the,
I would recommend weekly, you could always drop them,
Right, that's what I'm saying.
but weekly, not every other.
Right.
So
well,
weekly work session.
Well, we're gonna
will we
alternate
not-
from our meeting.
Gotcha, so you're.
Because we've got-
Okay, gotcha, you were right, you guys were
We
right.
don't really have public anything yet.
Yes, right, so it's just work session, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get the work?
hey, I forgot to, council,
With your permission, Madam Chair. You may find it early and start up to do some weekly work sessions to get things speed up and then all that. The work sessions are really when you can get the work done, the formal meetings get a little bit more formal for consideration of votes or ratification of.
Right.
well, and I'm kind of feeling like they're all work sessions right now. And so with the plan that I think we're thinking of, that would mean we have a work session every Tuesday going forward,
Yeah.
right? The times would vary, the time would on first and on second and fourth, it would be in the evening, and on first and third, it would be 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yep.
What do you guys think?
Sounds good.
Do we need,
That's good.
That's perfect.
okay, do we need to vote on that?
But also with the caveat that we need to make sure that we're.
We're done by 5, so that they
So
can.
you're saying your second and fourth are not planning commission meetings?
They are, they're just yes, they are, they're
Okay,
all
because-
planning commission meetings,
Okay, and
They're work sessions.
work session.
so because you can vote in the planning commission meetings, you cannot vote.
We just don't have anything, I don't know that we have anything to vote on quite yet,
If you don't
But-
have yourself any action items, there's nothing to vote.
there's nothing to vote on, so we can,
So
we can.
I'm texting Shannon, what
Okay.
should I ask her for?
If we can add our first and third Tuesdays
From
3 till 5.
3 to 5.
I already should say, Shannon text.
There you go, we got the man here too.
Yeah.
You're you already texted.
Mine works here.
Mine works for the unfilled.
I think there's issue on Tuesdays, I asked for accident as well, but.
I know, but I wanted to reserve it too, so.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed it, Dr. Jones.
No, I'm not. They're not stepped on. So, okay.
Perfect.
Great.
That's what we found helped, is to get started every week,
Yeah.
start digging in, and then you do other work at home and you come back. So,
Do we need to vote on this to make it a final? We're just good, we can do that, okay.
You guys can decide if you want
We
to
just,
go or
no,
not.
we're good, we're good, we
You do
agreed,
have to-
nobody objected,
You do
so.
have to publish those
Right.
within the timely.
And we'll get them published once they get a confirmation that where they're gonna schedule a date, but we think that's gonna be that, and then we'll publish it.
Well, we
24 hours in advance.
need them 24 hours in advance, each time.
Okay,
And so you're saying that the first and third Tuesdays, 3 to 5, are the
Yeah.
meetings that you were at.
yes. And we are leaving second and fourth Tuesdays, 6 to 8, as they are.
So in preparation of that, if everybody has a chance to access the folder that Kathy's going to send you a link to. And just, you don't have to read it all verbatim, but just at least scan and get familiar with all the different edited ordinances and how to navigate. And then we can go through and start to talk about how we can divvy up and.
And Peggy sent us the general plan, so that one also. Yes.
Can I show you what's in the folder right now to make sure you're set? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Let me make sure I'm on right.
and then while she's pulling that up, Lisa, Brian may have some suggestions.
Yes.
On tasks and things to get started too, right?
Yes, please, sir.
So just to bounce off and see what you guys want to do, but. He's our help and support here in this process.
Yeah, well, I think Angela put together a great plan. I mean, it mirrored a lot of what I had in mind, just making sure that, you know, now that you have a work schedule in place, I think it would be wise within the next week to start making assignments to say, you know, as individuals, you're responsible for reviewing and consolidating comments within specific sections of code, and then you can bring those back in a slightly more prepared manner to discuss as a group. As you know, if there's anything that I can do as staff to facilitate that or to, you know, take some of that load, I'm happy to do that. You know, any time I spend on it, of course, costs the city money, but you know, the city council has expressed the desire that they want to do it right and not cheap. And so, you know, I'll make sure that we're using that time as efficiently as possible. But if, you know, if there's any way that I can take some of that technical load off of your shoulders, I'm happy to do so. But I think it would be wise that each of you take a section or a chapter or something, an area of responsibility and really, you know, start digging in and preparing that so that as a group you can consider how to proceed with the language. Are you going to, you know, because I'm sure there are comments in each of these documents that some of them are conflicting, you know, which position do you feel is the best for the city to take? You know, does somebody may have deleted a section that you disagree needed to be deleted or vice versa, they left something in that you don't want, you know, you need to start just kind of cleaning it up and you know, if we break it out as a team, you can cover a lot more ground a lot quicker, so that you know, as the work sessions start convening in the next couple of weeks, you know, we have a plan to tackle each individual chapter. The mayor expressed to me that she has a list of sections that you know, that the volunteers have already been through that she at least feels like there's broad consensus on, and so maybe those are, you know, those are things that as a group you could tackle early and get them off your plate because they're not controversial, so that you can spend you know, a greater amount of time researching and discussing the issues that are going to be more difficult to discern.
That sounds great. And so Kathy has some links for us for some information. We also have the general plan that Peggy sent to us today. We'll hope that we can get that information from Janet so that Kathy can load that in as well, so that we have that information to review and
This is what it currently has. Does this code policies and procedures give you guys what you need to get started? This is all the data I got pushed.
Yeah, if you click on the OBC codes. These are. These are what Chad and Peggy took from the community input and tried to make sense of. So thank you for that, and we can review those too. But going back, if you wanted to see kind of the root material, I don't know that that's in there. If you go back a step, maybe it's under the WC.
Yeah, I think it's the bottom.
WC county codes that were edited. Let's see if those are.
And those were just.
Yeah, and then up at the top, the land use codes at the top. And zones. So we had to go digging. And so there's red line recommendations, which were, again, that one example where people either kind of typed on. But then there's also a different place backwards to find the ones that were actually edited. I think if you just click on any of those, Forest Valley, people put the comments directly in. If you scroll, their names might pop up of who made comments where.
Oh, yeah.
there we go, okay.
Like that. So those are the two formats that the comments came in. Right, so there's three versions out there right now that they just kind of talk through, but as you say, we'll put them into buckets and assign who's going to review what.
This is from that transition team folder, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's everything we need right now with management. I think we're good, thank you.
And then if Janet has information on things that were non-controversial,
Yeah.
or those are then that are not in there, sounds like, and so we can get Janet to give us
I
those
think
all.
in there, she just needs to tell you which one.
Which one it is, okay, Al?
Yeah,
You can reach out to her and ask her to explain that. Where Angela can, since
You
she's
can invite her
she's
to one of our
the
work
expert.
sessions in the afternoon.
What's that?
You can invite her to a work session.
Yeah,
Yeah, in all her spare time, right?
She did express that Tuesday evenings are difficult for her, but perhaps in the.
Tuesday afternoon.
It might be, yeah, we'll of course, we'll.
City council also has full access to the drive, so any of the council members can add any files that they might have worked on. So if you're waiting on files from Janet, they all have access, they can push it over to you guys.
Fantastic.
Kathy, did we get the 2016 general plan in there? Because that's the latest edition we had.
I can go searching for it.
It should be on the drive somewhere.
On the Google Drive.
Yeah, it's on Google Drive.
Sounds true.
and that,
I sent it out in an email.
Yeah, you did today.
but it should go, let's put everything in there.
Yeah, that's, if heaven's knows, I sent it out. And
I just have a question. Are you coming?
I will be here anytime you want me to be here. I can attend remotely or I can participate, in person, but I am at your call, at your disposal. Yeah, so I am free, Tuesdays, I will make myself available. My calendar is currently open every Tuesday for the rest of the year, so I'm happy to be here when you need me to. I will plan on attending at least weekly the next couple of months, as we work through this process, whether I need to be here in person or whether I can participate online, that's up to you. But I'll stay in touch with you.
Brian also has a team of people too, of junior planners and other planners that have taken a look at this already. So, he'll be doing.
Yeah, so if we need some specialist commentary, I can bring in somebody to help.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks.
Any other questions from anybody?
No, ma'am.
Comments? Anything? Do I hear a motion?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
sorry,
Brian.
can Lisa, can you summarize when the meetings are at the work sessions?
New plan? Yeah, the new plan for meetings. Yes. First and third Tuesdays beginning February 3rd from 3:00 until 5:00 here in the Huntsville Town Hall and also via Zoom. Second and fourth Tuesdays, as previously arranged, will remain the same on from 6 until 8, also right here in the Huntsville Town Hall, also with Zoom. Was that concise enough? And did I answer your question, Fred?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Yes.
And then you guys are gonna work on finding volunteer for your technology.
Who's gonna help us find volunteers for our technology?
I wanted to help you while you look for it, I just,
yeah,
I'm not busy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I was the AirStats IT specialist at my last job, so I would be happy to help set Zoom and open it up if, you know, if I can.
Same goes for your reporter. Just to try
Try to
to
help us for a bit. Is that
I
what
can
you're
help you, although I have company coming on February 3rd.
Okay.
So we'll need to find a backup for that one.
Okay, okay, great. I think as much as you're available, I guess there's this pang of guilt. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys are doing so much already and I don't want to overwhelm you, but if you're anything you are willing and able to do, yeah, that would be marvelous to have that consistency and continuity. And so, thank you. But we need somebody else for the 3rd, right? Okay.
Yeah, FYI, we have asked them to write job descriptions.
Yes.
We will post it in the paper for volunteers to help. Our website should be live soon, so we'll put it down there that we need specific jobs filled. So, but if you do know anybody else who is willing to volunteer and has these skill sets, please send them our way so we can.
Absolutely.
I'll make one last suggestion about the work sessions, the afternoon work sessions. I think we should be the commissions should be Zoom, even though they need to hold this space. I think we should be working all in one format on Zoom together. I think the hybrid thing is really hard for this kind of working. So how do y'all feel about that? The Tuesday afternoon, the 3rd, and
Then somebody is going to be here and run the Zoom, and then we will all work via Zoom.
well, I don't know if anybody needs to be here to run the Zoom though. Like, I don't know if you have to be.
Yeah.
here.
I have to where they run the Zoom.
Yeah, we have to have a sign-in sheet
Right.
for
We
people,
have
and
to
we
have a
have
sign-in sheet, we
Right,
have to have
we have
an
to have
agenda. We have
yes.
to have
And
things
we can
here.
all be on Zoom.
Yeah.
But should you consider starting out?
No, I do better in person.
Yeah.
You do?
I do.
Let's start the
person
afternoon.
Yeah, I find
Yeah.
Zoom really frustrating, you've noticed with Fred, there's that lag, I just don't think you get the good back and forth.
No,
I really
Well,
don't.
you know, I think,
at least to start with.
Yeah.
then I suggest that we try to work in person, but if there's an extenuating circumstance that somebody can't be here, I'd rather that they be on Zoom than not participate at all.
Absolutely. But I'd rather have the first option be in person.
Okay, you good with that?
Yeah, yes, I was just
Okay.
thinking.
We have one more assignment though.
One more
and that
assignment.
is when we have our next agenda item, on February 10th. The land use attorney who wrote the book, literally,
great.
wrote the book, Ground Rules, that everybody is reading is going to be here. And Angela made a great suggestion also when she was looking at the test. If you have questions for him, please, will you send them to Chad? And Chad will forward them so he could be prepared to answer specific things that you may want to know
Great.
about the book. So I thought.
And it
that
was a great book. I read it, I'm rereading because it's very, it's
So I will need your agenda for the meeting on the 3rd by the end of this week,
okay.
just to make sure it gets posted in time.
Angela.
Hey,
go ahead.
do you guys mind if I ask a quick question? This is Ian Houghton listening in. First of all, thank you for stepping up to being planning commissioners. I did some time down in Ogden, and I know what it's like, and can be very rewarding and very frustrating at the same time. But thank you for doing this because it's very necessary. I've been firing up an effort. I'm on the Ogden Valley Land Trust Board, and I was asked by a couple of the council folks to pull together some forward motion regarding an agricultural advisory committee, which a number of towns in the West have. And I pulled some preliminary notes together for them, but I'm thinking I should share those notes with you guys as well. The question will be how the three organizations work together. What's typical is that because we have stated in our general plan that we have not only a focus, but a real mission to protect, preserve, and promote agriculture, and not just decorative agriculture, but functioning farms. That's a pretty significant series of tasks and efforts that need to happen to make sure that that continues. And so we want to get in front of planning decisions in the sense that developers and those that have business, quote unquote, before you put a lot of time and money into things, and it provides an awful lot of peer pressure when you step in and say, I'm not really happy about that. I mean, I know it's consistent-ish with the general plan, but not really. And you get into that kind of messiness, and that's going to be one of your jobs, is to tighten up the general plan. But in the meantime, in terms of standing up for agriculture, what we want to have happen is, before anything gets very far down the road at all, let's send it over to the ag people and see if it has any kind of negativity about it, like narrowing a road or something that's going to interfere with moving farm equipment, or development rate near a really busy farm that's got smells or dust or both. And we are talking about a right to farm ordinance that people can bitch all they want, but if you don't like it, you should live somewhere else. Though, I mean, it sounds harsh, but why'd you move to the valley if you don't like farms? And so this is the kind of stuff that's on the table, but I wanted to get your guys' opinion as to how you want to see this integrate and any input you might have.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian. I really appreciate that. I think that is an item that is interesting and that we need to entertain. It's not an item on our agenda, so we're not going to go deep into that, but I think that's something that we will certainly bring up as we talk to Brian and make sure that that is placed on an agenda to address. Is that
So, Ian, I need your last name.
It's Hueton, Hueton.
Okay.
And one of the things that I would always observed at other planning commission meetings, what you'll probably want to adopt, is when people do make public input, you want to get their name and you want to get their address, just so you have a sense of who's coming to your meetings and who's giving input.
Yeah.
So I'm at 129 South, 7200 East in Huntsville.
Did you get it?
A little slower.
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry,
Repeat.
129 South, 7200 East.
Thank you. Our double check is our sign in, but when we have people on Zoom, we don't have that piece.
That's right.
So, anything else?
I will, I know, Lisa, I have your email. I'll pull some notes together of what I've shared with the council already, and that's a continuing effort in terms of really recommendations on how to get it off the ground. A lot of it cribbed and borrowed from other communities that are years ahead of us in doing this, so there's no point reinventing the wheel, but we do have our own slice of paradise that we're going to handle a little differently. So that'll be part of it, and that's where we want to have input from those in position. Select some committee members at some point. So I'll get all that to you shortly.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn. We said it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hit at the gavel. Oh, all in favor? Any opposed?
Okay.
There you go.